Hi, and welcome to Sixcess Stories. We are your hosts, Christina Gent.
And Eric Kozarowski.
Why are you laughing? We are your hosts, Christina Gent.
And Eric Kozarowski.
Thank you. And this is where we share real conversations with members of the 6 Degrees community about life, leadership, and the power of meaningful connections. Today we have Greg Lipper, who is a partner at Link Up Golf.
In this episode with Greg, we talk about the origin of his idea for his golf business called Link Up and how it's evolved over the last few years. As someone that's in a similar business as us, he's a connector, and we get into some of the ways, the impactful ways that the connections that he's created on the golf course have impacted the lives of his members. We also talk about the innovation process that he uses, which is attack and adapt. And in the end, we get into just his vision for how he sees his role in the company and what he would prefer it to be as a early stage founder.
Yeah, Greg is somebody who, he's so smart. He knows so much history. There was so many dates and people and names, and I just was in awe of some of the things that he was able to recollect and talk about. So it was really fascinating just to hear, even just going back, way back to where everything started for him. So it was a really fun conversation, and I'm really excited for all the opportunities that are going to come with our partnership with Link Up Golf. So Please enjoy this episode of Sixcess Stories.
All right, well, let's do it. What do you want to know?
Let's do it. So typically the way we start these, we'll do a check-in. I think for today, what is, unless you have one, Christina? No. I think for today, what's your, on a scale of 1 to 10, stress level / excitement level of your business for each of us?
It's a really interestingly timed question.
Yeah.
Because if it was yesterday, stress would have been 10.
Yeah.
And excitement would have been really excited, but want to make sure this works.
Yeah.
And today, the stress level is way down and the excitement level is way up because we had a really successful event yesterday in a new format that I think is going to be a big part of our future.
Yeah.
So that was, and I got terrific feedback from everyone. The whole entrepreneurial journey is, the majority is planning and fretting. And then you have these limited periods of where you actually deliver what it is you've been working on, and then you kind of wait for the feedback.
Yep.
And so the feedback yesterday was fantastic, so I'm in a great mood.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I love it. I love that energy. Christina, how about you? What's the stress or stress / excitement?
Well, yeah, I'm going to mark them both as being pretty high.
Okay.
There's so many things that I'm super excited about at what we're doing. And at the same time, I mean, our biggest event of the year is coming up, and I definitely feel behind. And just the attrition, things that are happening right now, it's stressful. It's causing stress. I think it's all positive. I think it's all moving that needle. But to what you just said of, yeah, there's these things that we're planning, and it's like we got to just wait and see. Do people like it? How do they respond to it? We just had a really great response to the Padres event that we did. So I think that being more of the North Star that we're like, this is what we're doing going forward, I think people are going to get excited for. But yeah, I mean,
I'm having a senior moment on who said it. It was some recognized, brilliant person, I believe a woman, who said that stress is an opportunity. I think it was Billie Jean King.
Yeah.
If you're not putting yourself into situations in which you feel stress, you're just not pushing the envelope enough, you're not going to get anywhere. So the fact that you're feeling stress is actually, take it as positive feedback.
yeah, I think that's the life of an entrepreneur, the life of a business owner. It's going to exist. It's just, what do I do with it?
Yeah. What's the,
Yeah.
There's healthy stress and then there's unhealthy stress, right? And I've noticed the reason I actually framed it the way I did was I usually ask, what's the stress level? And I've learned that stress and excitement are actually the same thing. We either frame them as stress or label them as excitement.
Most people, I guess every person, has exactly the level of stress in life that they can handle.
Yeah.
Because when they get to the point where they can't handle it anymore, they somehow change their life, that the stress goes down. So you're always kind of at the stress max.
Yeah.
the goal should be to enable yourself to either feel less stress or manage more.
Sure. That would definitely be the goal. For me, I would probably say, like it's like a 7.
Okay.
Stress level / excitement level. To Christina's point, some of the stuff that we have going on. I'm super excited to hear more about your event and like kind of some of the direction stuff. But for me, stress-wise and excitement-wise, solid 7 for sure.
Okay. To explain why yesterday was significant, I think I have to give a little bit of background. And unfortunately, it's not going to be a little bit. It goes it goes all the way back to 1987.
Perfect. That's where we wanted to start.
So I went to Babson College because it was the only school in America at the time that you could major in entrepreneurial studies. And I graduated a year early.
That was the only school in America?
Yeah.
That you could...
It was the first school to have that as a major.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And my father and Vern Harnish and Michael Dell were very involved with starting something called the Association of Collegiate Entrepreneurs, which turned into the Young Entrepreneur Organization, which turned into the Entrepreneur Organization. And so I grew up in a house that was just filled with entrepreneurs coming in and out of the door every day of the week, and it just never occurred to me that I would do anything else. And so that was the correct school to go to because that was the correct major to take.
Yeah.
However, let me take a slight detour. If I
Yeah.
could live my life over, I wouldn't have done that. All of the stuff they teach you in entrepreneurial or education, you can learn later. If I could
It's all
live,
theory. Yeah.
if I could live my life over, I would study brain science. I would study psychology. I would study organizational behavior. I would learn how people and organizations make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can layer the business
Yeah.
stuff on top of that.
Yeah.
Having said that, what we know about the brain today is so infinitely more than what we knew about it in 1987 that probably I wouldn't have gotten as much out of it
And
then.
it's still
but-
just a fraction of what
Yeah.
we still don't know so much.
Yeah,
Right. There's
kinda
so
crazy.
much. I think.
Some people get fascinated about space, and some people get fascinated about the ocean. I get fascinated about the human brain, and we are learning new things about it constantly.
Yeah, just I mean, I'll join you there. Just the thing that's happening between my 2 ears,
Yeah.
just my brain alone. There's a lifetime of stuff to figure out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so going back how that got me here, my mother is Danish. At the time, she could speak 5 languages well, and now she kind of speaks... No, at the time, she could speak 5 languages well.
Sure.
And she came to me and she said, "It's nice that you're graduating early, but I can't respect a man that can speak only 1 language.
Mm.
You have a year of your life, and you should go to Japan, Russia, or China and learn the language." And I said, "That's an interesting list of countries, Mother. Why those 3? And she says, "There'll always be important countries, and they'll never speak English well. I never taught you Danish because it's a pointless language. There's 4 million people, and the interesting ones all speak English, so there's no upside to it."
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was like, okay. I mean, can't argue with the logic. But this was 1987. The
Yeah.
wall hadn't come down yet.
Yeah.
China and Russia were not ready for Greg Lipper. And, Japan was buying the world. Japan was buying Rockefeller Center and Pebble Beach. And there was a beautiful Japanese woman in my class, and I bet you there's more like her where she came from. I was like, okay, Japan sounds good. And it was supposed to be for a year. And 6 months in, I was like, okay, this place is fascinating. The food, the language, the culture, yes, the women, living outside of the U.S., all of it, I was just enthralled.
How old were you at the time?
Just out of college, so 21.
22.
21 in Japan.
And I realized that a year wasn't going to be long enough to learn anything other than go beyond the superficial.
Yeah.
But I was on a student visa. And in those days, getting a working visa in Japan was not very easy. And so I went on this kind of intensive mission for the last 6 months to find work that could enable me to stay in the country. Long story short, I did find work, and I joined Mitsubishi Corporation. When I say Mitsubishi, most Americans think of cars and stereos, and it's a large group. Kirin Beer is in the Mitsubishi group. Nikon is in the Mitsubishi group. Mitsubishi Corporation is a trading company. All it does is buy and sell things.
Sure.
But from natural gas to space shuttle parts to ramen noodles, I mean, they 50,000. But anyway, I joined Mitsubishi, and once you start working, life starts. And I worked with them for 4 or 5 years, and interesting that I had a degree in entrepreneurship working in the most conservative company in the most conservative country in the world, right? But I then set up a business helping American software companies enter Japan because I was on the team at Mitsubishi that was responsible for finding promising technology products from America, obtaining the Japan or the Asia distribution rights, and then setting up the channel. And so on any given week, I would see 3, 4, 5 American vendors come and pitch Mitsubishi, and some did it very well and some did it very poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see all phases, right? From the pitch to the launch to the running the business to ultimately exiting, and I got a very intensive period of perspective. And so then I set up a consulting business helping American companies do it better. And one of those companies became not my client, but an employer, and I was there. I set up their Japan operation, and I was their Japan country manager, and then they sent me to Singapore because Singapore was the Asia hub. So that was first 12 years in Japan, and then 20 years in Singapore, because Singapore was a fabulous place to raise children. And by that time I had 2 half-Japanese children, and Japan's a very xenophobic place, and my kids were having a hard time in school. And Singapore is the most multicultural place in the world. And it was a wonderful place to raise children. It's tiny, right? It's 98% the size of Camp Pendleton. All right, it is smaller than Camp Pendleton, and yet there's 5.5 million people, 3 rainforests at the time.
I've heard nothing
was,
but great things about Singapore.
It's fantastic on so many levels. And I mean, Singapore is a case study in what one benevolent dictator, Lee Kuan Yew, who I think was the greatest leader in modern history. And Singapore was, after the war, it became part of the Malaysian Federation of States, and then they passed this highly discriminatory body of laws called the Bumiputra laws, which were very, very slanted towards the Malays in terms of what school you could get into, what interest rates you had. Every company had to have a Bumi chairman or CEO. And Lee Kuan Yew, at the age of 28, was the governor of Singapore, and Singapore was 90% Chinese, and he went to KL and said, you can't enforce these laws in Singapore. And KL said, piss off.
Sure.
And kicked them out of Singapore. And Singapore at that time didn't have a source of clean water, didn't have its own source of electricity. There was no way that they could feed its population. And Lee Kuan Yew cried on national TV, saying, I don't know what we're going to do. Well, he figured it out really damn quick, and he put together a plan that over 30, 40 years took that situation and turned it into one of the world's thriving economies that was punching way above its weight class in terms of economic impact, but also created an environment that was a wonderful place to raise kids. Anyway, I decided that I wanted to stay there until my kids went to college. So by that time, 32 years had gone by.
from one...
Yeah. My mom's like, I said 1 year, okay? 1 year.
Look what you did.
And by that time, my parents were at an age where it was time for a good son to be present. And so I came back. And when I came back, of course, I didn't know anyone.
How often did you come back here during...
Well, that's interesting because my kids would summer here.
Yeah.
So San Diego was always... We come from New York, but my parents had moved to Del Mar. And my kids, for their entire youth, would, when they weren't in school in the summer, they would spend their summers here. I wouldn't be here for the whole time, but I would be here for part of that time.
Sure.
So San Diego always felt like home base.
Yeah.
And it's always where I kind of considered home, but it's not like I really knew anybody. So I played a little bit of golf. Well, I guess I played more than a little bit. I played some golf in Asia, but not to the level that when I came here. And when I came here, I hadn't played in several years. It just kind of faded out of my life. And where I lived downtown was just across the bridge from the Coronado golf course, which I don't know if you've
played,
been. Yeah. It's fantastic. As a
special.
municipal golf course, it's just gorgeous. And I got back into golf, and I played the back nine at Coronado every morning at 6 a.m. because that's the only time you can get a tee time. For the back nine, there is no tee times. You just show up, and the first 16 guys go off, to the point where the license plate on my car is 9B49. Because that was my life. I'd got 9 holes of golf before 9 a.m. every day. And so I decided, okay, why don't I use golf as a way to get to know people, to expand my network? And I went looking for a business networking golf platform, and I couldn't find it. I could find golf for dating. I could find golf for competition. There was a great name for a women's golf league called Wine After Nine. But there was nothing that kind of fit my specific need. And then one day, somebody took me to play golf at Chula Vista Municipal. I would call it a cow pasture, but that would be an insult to cow pastures. First of all, cow pastures have grass, and this one doesn't really. It was like playing golf on the meteor from Armageddon. It was just the most. It was the most.
I've heard.
It's the
never
only
played it.
time I've ever walked off of a golf course before finishing the round. It was just dreadful. And I'm thinking to myself, why did this guy take me here? And then it occurred to me that it's hard to get tee times in other places. And so I started thinking about that. I was like, okay. So it is, I mean, there are more golfers per 18 holes of golf in San Diego than anywhere in America except Dade County, Florida. So the competition for tee times at the municipal courses, at the public day courses, is fierce. And what I figured out is that if I buy in units of 16 or more, I can buy from the tournament sales director. And then they'll open up the calendar 2 months in advance as opposed to 1 week in advance, which is normal. It's like, okay. And so I was doing that, and I did it at the time at an entity that I set up called Prime Times Golf, because that's really what I was selling, was prime tee times. And it was just a matter of, okay, fine, we'll get together a bunch of guys that are in random businesses and essentially just play at nice public day courses at prime times. And that went all right. We ended up with a large number of members fairly quickly. But I got feedback one day from somebody who said, you know, Greg, we like the golf and we like the networking. We don't like paying more money to play at average courses. I said, okay. I thought about that. Some people say that I'm an ideas person. I like to think that I'm an ears person. I think about the feedback that I receive, and I was like, okay. So what he's saying is that he wants to pay less money to play at superior courses. Well, that's a neat trick. How am I going to do that? And I thought about it, and then it occurred to me, the way I'm going to do that is by fractionalizing memberships. I'm going to raise money. I'm going to buy a membership at a really nice place, and that'll enable me to have a low members guest rate. I will still be able to offer our members a lower price than retail, but a higher price than my buy price, and I will figure out how to make money on that delta. And then I will structure the events to be specific to an industry or a role. So we'll have some events for business owners and B2B service providers. We'll have some events for life sciences. We'll have some events for real estate.
That was the original.
That was the original thought behind that led to what is now Link Up Golf. And I was fortunate in that I found enough people that agreed with the idea that we were able to form a limited partnership and make the purchase of the first membership. And I decided on Aviara, And that was a great decision. Aviara is a fantastic course. It's just every hole is a piece of landscaping artwork. And not only is it beautiful, but it has the ability to be both challenging for excellent players, but accessible for average players.
Sure.
Everybody has a great time at Aviara. And they have this fabulous steak and seafood restaurant called Ember and Rye, which is a great place to have a meal after the golf.
Yeah.
So that worked really well. But in the first year, my challenge was I was selling memberships to a networking organization without being able to define exactly who is in the organization. And so it's kind of like asking people to make a long-term commitment to something on a leap of faith and just saying, just trust me, there'll be good people there.
Yeah.
And some people did. For 11 months, we've had good events, and it's been slowly growing. It was actually because of you, Eric.
Oh, okay.
What
What did I do? What did I do? How do I repeat it?
We were sitting around the table one night at Ember and Rye after a meal, and everybody was about to get up and go. And you were kind enough to say, no, guys, stay for a little while. Let's have another bottle of wine, and let's help Greg think through how we can really make this more successful. And I appreciate that, because that was what led to this idea. And then I introduced some ideas I had about different membership configuration to change the pricing up a little bit. And Sharon McCorkle from Venture said, Greg, you don't understand. You could make this 30% more or 30% less expensive, and that would not influence the frequency with which I could participate. And I said, well, what would? She said, if you could tell me, if I can tell my management exactly who I'm going to meet, and those people exactly meet my ideal client profile, my management will fund this much more than what you're asking now. But if I can't show them that in advance, they're not going to agree in advance to funding it.
Sure.
And I thought about that. And I thought about it. And it's like, okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm asking people to pay to fish at a pond without telling them how I'm going to stock the pond.
Or if there's any
Or
fish.
if there's any fish in there. Like, all right, so why don't we turn that around? Why don't we stock the pond? And that's where this idea for hosted events came from. And so what we now do, and this is just the first manifestation of it, but what we did for the first time yesterday is something called a CXO link-up. And it's CXO because yesterday was CFOs, and on November 6th we do CEOs, and then the next month we'll do CMOs and CIOs, CHROs. So every month a different C-suite role, and every foursome has 3 of those CXOs who play for free, and 1 host, and the host funds it. But the host selects who's in their foursome. And then, as an added bonus, on the 10th tee, they swap. Because 9 holes is really enough to establish a relationship and to at least be able to carry on the conversation afterwards. So as an added bonus, why don't we enable you to meet another 3. So you meet 6 in total, 3 of which you've hand-selected. And then there's a dinner afterwards. And we were able to charge much more money for that because people knew in advance that, okay, we're going to meet these 3 people that are an exact fit and 3 others. And it was easy for me to recruit the CXOs because I'm offering a day of free golf at Aviara with a dinner afterwards. And, you know, if you're a golfer, that's heroin. You don't turn down a day of golf at Aviara. But also the CXOs like the idea of meeting the other CXOs that will be in their group. And meeting a vendor that is so sure that they have such compelling value to offer them that they're willing to pay thousands of dollars for the opportunity. And it went really, really well.
Because that was the first one, right?
That was
the
the
very,
one.
very first CXO
Yeah.
event.
And, you've been to our events before where
Mhm.
sometimes we have 2 foursomes or 3 foursomes. We had 6. And we ended up turning people away. We sold out, which is also nice, create a little scarcity.
Yeah.
Um, and so, that's going to be a major format for us going forward. So now we have 3 formats. We have members events, and that will continue, where everybody pays their own way, and it's kind of serendipitous as to who you're going to meet at that day. And then we have single host events, which we call Lunch, Learn, and Golf. It begins with a lunch in the private dining room at Ember and Rye, which is fantastic, followed by the golf. In the single host events, the host determines who's going to be in the room. So they will give me the criteria. They'll say, okay, we want CFOs of companies with at least 20 employees in these industries in San Diego. We reach out to those people and ask if they would welcome invitations to hosted rounds of golf at Aviara. The ones that opt in, we show that opt-in list to the host, and the host says, okay, these 6 are great, these 6 we don't need. And then the problem is always that conceptually a guest loves the idea, but it's like, oh no, on that day I have a problem. I have a
Sure.
conflict. So if we want to fill 12, we probably have to get 25 or 30 that say yes to get down to 12 that can actually be there on that day. And we've done a few of those before, but now we have multi-host events. So somebody doesn't have to flip the bill for 12 players. They can just fund one foursome, but they get to select exactly the 3 people that are in that foursome. So we've kind of come from essentially scalping tea times, right? Just
Yeah.
buying 16 tea times and hoping that we could sell it,
Yeah.
to turning around and saying, no, okay, we already have the venue. We have a beautiful golf venue. That part's not the challenge anymore. Who do you want to be playing golf with? Okay, now let's figure out how we're going to be doing that. I forgot one of my normal spiels. Why golf? Right? Why golf has been a relationship accelerator and known as a relationship accelerator for as long as there's been golf. And there's, the cliche of closing deals on the golf course and all of that. I mean, it's well accepted. Why golf more than another activity? There's 2 reasons. First, human beings, relationships start with the phases of know, like, trust,
Sure.
right? And each one of those phases is accelerated through storytelling, story sharing. Stories take time. When you're on back-to-back Zoom calls in 30 minutes, you don't get into conversations about where your best family vacation was, or what school you want your daughter to go to, or what's going on with your family, or where you'd like to retire, or there's just not enough time for that. But when you're on a golf course in this beautiful, relaxed environment, and you've got time in the cart, you've got time waiting for your shot at the tee, you have time to share these stories. But there's lots of interruptions. So it's not one long monologue like I'm doing now. You have little pockets where you can share stories. And the other thing is, human beings are pack animals. All pack animals, whether we're talking about dolphins or wolves or human beings, bond through side-by-side activities. When you go face-to-face, the amygdala takes over and a whole different brain process begins. If you look at the things that humans do together, side by side, we cook together, we farm together, we pray together, we sit around a campfire together. All of those things that are relationship developing are done side by side. In a golf day, you're in the golf cart side by side, you're walking up the fairway side by side, you're standing on the green side by side. Whether you're aware of it or not, there's this non-verbal bonding dance going on, and you're moving like a pack from hole to hole to hole. And at the end of the day, you really feel like you've been through something with the person, you know that person. And Eric, I'm sure that you'll agree with this. If you're in a meeting and you get 3 phone calls, when you get out of the meeting, you look at the list who called, you call back the golfer first.
You might. I'm probably going to call whoever called me first.
No, I called the golfer first. But anyway, so what we've done is we've figured out a way to take this naturally bonding activity, which I didn't invent. I've just figured out a way to harness it with precision and predictability and repeatability.
I love the background on why golf that you share, because I think I've talked about this with people before, but that's where we overlap, right? The relationship aspect of putting people in positions to be able to cultivate relationships.
Yep.
And I think for me, like what I've kind of described is if we're cubes as human beings, we're multidimensional. And so how do I change the angle or change the side of the cube that I'm showing?
Yes.
And part of the 4 or 5 hours of a round of golf is I might see Greg hit a really great shot and get excited.
Probably not.
I might see him mess up and throw one in the water.
Yep.
And how does it? But so I'm actually seeing different sides within the little microcosm that's being created.
And the other nice thing about golf as opposed to, let's say, pickleball. In pickleball, I win, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hand-to-hand, face-to-face combat. In golf, it's collaborative. It's all of you against the course.
Sure.
And you're coaching each other, you're giving advice, you're cheering, and when you screw up, you're laughing at each other. It's a much more collaborative experience.
Yeah, I mean, pickleball is, it's in a lot of sports, a lot of recreational sports. It's more of a competitive, we're head on.
Yep.
That part of it is me versus you.
And I mean, obviously, some people are competitive with golf. As you know, I'm not. I don't use a scorecard. I think scorecards are for people that seek external validation of their intrinsic worth, and I'm not one of them.
I've heard it many times.
But some people keep score at our events, but there's no winner, there's no loser. It's not like we're tallying up the score at the end of the event. We have 4 rules. Don't be late, don't be slow, don't get angry, and get off your phone.
Yeah, I love it.
We did our event yesterday, and there were several people that said, I've always wanted to play Aviara. I haven't played it yet, and it is as beautiful as everyone says. And if it weren't for what we're doing, they would still not have played.
Yeah, that was my experience. So many people that I've played with at the Link Up events when I've participated is people's first time. It's like I've been wanting to play here for a really long time, and it's awesome to be able to have that experience at a little bit more of an affordable rate.
Yeah, and to have it become not just one time, but this can become a regular part of your life because it's not purely leisure. It's a business development investment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go back to kind of the evolution, right? So when we met was 3 years ago-ish, and right around the time you were like, I'm working on this. It was prime times at the time, and part of it for me and for us is we had a bunch of 6 Degrees members that were interested in golf. And I was like, oh, I know someone that's trying to figure out how to do that. Right? So I guess I'd love to know more about the journey from very recent of like yesterday was a really successful event, and this seems like the path forward. Hopefully it is, but from if you think back to the very early days till now, like talk a little bit about the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey, because I know you and I have had some heart-to-heart conversations around the frustration.
Sure. In terms of this story specifically, we've evolved from selling golf to selling access, and we use golf as the lure to bring people together, but really we're not selling golf. We're selling the ability to create relationships with people that you wouldn't otherwise have met through golf.
Right.
It took me almost 2 years now to figure that out, that if people want to play golf, they'll play golf. They don't need me for that.
Yeah.
And it's been going on long before me. But what my job is to figure out the formats that make sense to bring people together and then to market those formats. But in terms of the entrepreneurial journey in general, you always have to have an out-of-body experience because it's not what you want. You're not the market. You have to understand, first of all, identify who is your market and constantly be thinking about what they want and what other alternatives they have and how you can fill a gap and do it on a business model that's sustainable.
Sure.
And people that are in product marketing and technology development often have a beef against salespeople that say, there's an old saying that, oh, a salesperson never saw a brochure they didn't love, right? And
Sure.
salespeople always say, oh, if I just had this feature, oh, if we just had that,
Right.
then I could sell it. But that's the innovation process. You never start out with the perfect product. You start out with what you can start out with.
Yeah.
And you put it out there and you get feedback and you adapt. And so I call it attack and adapt, attack and adapt. And I'm borrowing from a book that I've become enamored with. But the metaphor that this book uses is that torpedoes are on a constant feedback loop. All right, the torpedo doesn't know that it's going in the right direction. It gets feedback. It says, okay, no, turn a little right. No, turn a little left. But it can't get on course standing still.
Sure. So constant
It
course.
has to constantly be moving forward and then be open to feedback and adjust course as it goes.
Yeah.
The other metaphor that is, or the other piece that's relevant, is that businesses like torpedoes do not have an unlimited amount of fuel. So you got to hit the target before you run out of gas. So, job one of the CEO is don't run out of money. And
Yep.
so, that's the restraint within which you have to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
I love the torpedo analogy. Constant course correcting.
Yeah.
But I have to be in motion.
But you have to make a mistake in order to understand that that was a mistake and then course correct.
Yeah.
If you just sit there and say, oh, well, that might be a mistake, I don't want to do it, you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's been so many things that we've done over the last 4 years that we tried this, tried that, this didn't work, this part of this thing did work, but the rest of it didn't. It's just been constant.
Well, and not only that, all right, it worked for some people and not for others. I used to run a business that, I started just doing Japan market entry. When I moved to Singapore, I then expanded, and we were doing market entry in 11 countries. So a client would come to us and within 8 weeks would be up and running in 5, 6, 7 target countries. And what I learned is you can't please all of Asia on the same day.
Really? You can't?
No, you can't. Everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else.
Right.
Everything you say no to, you're saying yes to something else. And so, for example, when we were doing prime times, we were playing at courses like Riverwalk and Vineyard, and there's nothing wrong with those courses. They're perfectly nice and they offer great value. It's just not the premium networking environment. It's not like you can say to a client, hey, I'm going to take you to a round at Riverwalk, and ask them to get as excited as they would, I'm going to take you to a round at Aviara.
Yeah.
But that moved the price point up.
Well,
And so when we did that, there were some people that didn't like that decision because, even though you're making it cheaper than their list price, it's still much more expensive than it would be to play at another course. You can't make everybody happy, so you got to figure out who your target market is and do what those people want.
That's interesting because the evolution for us has been really similar, right? So the dinners that we've done have been an example of that. Like, I'm not trying to just take you to the one I always throw out, and I don't know why, but Denny's.
Yeah, I don't know why you've ever used that as an example.
Because it's right there.
I've never been there.
By the
It
way,
might be a perfectly fine.
by the way, don't knock Denny's.
Yeah, I'm not
it's-
knocking Denny's.
Yeah, no.
But for a similar reason, like we're talking about environment, and so how do I create an environment that's more of an experience that's going to leave a memory? And like, we're in the memory making business, right? The relationship is like where I meet someone matters, how I meet someone matters, the time that I spend with them matters, and the place of all of that is really important.
So another little piece of brain science. The human brain associates the people that they are with at the time when they're experiencing pleasure. So that's why you take someone to a really nice business lunch or a business dinner.
Sure.
Because while they're enjoying a great meal, they're being exposed to you, and they will make that association. So the same thing applies to golf. Do you want somebody to associate you with an okay golf course, or do you want somebody to associate you with an over-the-top, stunning golf course?
Right.
And so,
I mean, that's part of the reason why we shifted away from happy hours. Happy hours can be great, and at the same time, how many people do I actually remember meeting at a happy hour? Not very many, because they're kind of the same.
Yep.
They're very consistent. The type of experience that I'm having at a happy hour is pretty much the same across the board. I've met a lot of great people, but I don't remember meeting them. I just know that they're now in my circle.
Right.
Well, and not only that, they won't remember 6.
Right.
Because if you want to go to a happy hour, there's a lot of alternatives, right? Everybody, I mean, from Chambers to whatever, there's a lot of happy hours.
There's hundreds of them, like
But
every
what
day
you
in
guys
San
do
Diego.
is really unique. So there's no reason that you want to do what everyone else is doing. You want to do something a little differentiated.
That's where, again, similar, like how do we kind of move up in the experience column to have the relationships get deeper, to have the memory making part of it be a little bit more substantial, to reinforce the brain science, the association that you're talking about. Right, and we met at a happy hour. It still can be a place for that. It's just where we
100%.
want to play. There's an opportunity there.
There's plenty, like I said, there's plenty of people that I have met at happy hours. I just don't remember that. I don't remember that moment in comparison to someone that I would have met on a golf course. Granted, I don't golf, but that's something that I can take with me as far as where I met that person. Whereas I don't know if it's, I mean, maybe it's thousands at this point over the last 4 years of people that we've met at happy hours, that there are people that are still in my life, and there's people who have joined 6 Degrees or whatever the thing might be, but I don't remember the first time I met them.
Yeah.
For you, Greg, do you miss the consulting part? So obviously, big difference between entrepreneurial school, being a consultant, here's how we're going to do this, and the execution, but it's not really on you, versus running the business that you're in now.
In a way, I'm still consulting. I'm just not getting paid for it. And what I mean by that is I have to constantly think through, okay, this is Tim. These are the businesses that Tim are involved with. Okay, this is Eric. These are the things that Eric does. Okay, who should be in the same cart together? Who should be in the same foursome together? And when I introduce people at these events, I'm introducing them specifically with those hooks in mind. And so it's a different type of consulting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is still some of that going on. What I don't miss, let me rephrase that. What I like most about my life today, I only see people at their happiest. You know, it's not child oncology. It's not divorce law.
Sure.
I don't deal with
I've seen some
drama.
pretty frustrated people out on the golf course.
Yes, yes, and that's a violation of Rule 3. And, but you know, most of the FaceTime that I have with people is when they're really excited to be at Aviara playing golf.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And no, I don't get very deep into consulting, but that's not my role. That's not what they want me to do.
Yeah.
They want me to create a format and a platform for people to meet, and just to make sure that the right people are being connected to the right people.
There's so much synergy in what you do and what we do, and that's part of the reason for the partnership. And I think Go ahead.
It was just funny whenever Eric brought this up as a partnership. I literally looked at him and was like, you just want to be able to golf more. Like, what is this? This is just your excuse.
And I said,
yeah.
And it's for business.
Yeah, because it was early on when we started talking about the partnership piece with you, and it's evolved since then. Obviously, you just told us all about it, and I have not personally experienced it because I don't golf, but I've heard so many people who've gone through it, and obviously, Eric, you've been to several events, and so that is where I have seen so much of that alignment with what we do as well.
And Ember and Rye would be a great place to host a dinner. Probably.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. I think
you
that
should
would
at
be a
least
good
come
idea.
and experience that part of it.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of the CXO link-up format as well, is that the dinner, not everybody that plays golf is going to stay for dinner, and not everyone that comes to the dinner had played golf.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. And so I think what I was going to add on to what I was saying around, you're roughly 3 years in, right? So maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, coming up the end of the second year.
Yeah, and so for us, 4 years in, it's been interesting to kind of watch you from the outside. And I'm sure you have this of us as, well, this is obvious. Why don't you guys just do this? We've had some of those conversations.
We had that conversation yesterday.
Right. And it was like, well, yeah, I've been doing it this way. Like, and it's so interesting to me how it's magnified because of the relationship that we have.
Yep.
That's the same for every business. What if you just did it? We do it this way. Why don't you try that?
Sure.
Right? So I'm curious if there's anything from where you're sitting around, if you have, other than what we've talked about recently, of just what you see from 6 Degrees, or how that might apply to what you're doing and vice versa.
There's a great interview on YouTube with Jeff Bezos on the Stanford campus when he was just starting Amazon. He had long, straggly hair. He was this kind of nerdy young guy. Nobody knew what Amazon was, and somebody asked him, tell me about your business. And the statistics that this guy poured out was just amazing. And he said something that was so striking, and he said, and the first product we're going to start with is books. And then he gave all of the reasons why books made sense. But this guy had it figured out from day one that books wasn't the end game. That books was just the first product.
Yeah.
And that eventually, just like the Amazon, it was going to have everything. I won't go into why books made sense, but books made a lot of sense as the first product. So with me, okay, is it always going to be link up golf? Or is it going to be hot air balloon rides and fishing trips and other things that...
Sure.
But for the time being, we're very focused on golf, and there's a whole lot of more work to do there. There's 42 million golfers in America that played 533 million rounds of golf in 2023, I think it is, or 24. That's a big enough ocean for us to swim in for the time being.
Got some room.
But the idea of finding a mutually appealing activity that is collaborative and facilitates relationship development isn't limited to golf. Those are just my books. That's just the starting point. And where it goes from there, I'm not sure.
Sure. And to your point, it could be all you ever need to do is golf.
Right.
With the opportunity there and with the market size.
And, I'm using myself as a guinea pig. I'm trying to come up with the model and prove the point that somebody can make a comfortable living just hosting golf events, and then codify that and solidify the tech stack such that we can enable hundreds of people across America that also have memberships at nice places to do the same thing. Now, whether we take the Airbnb model and we enable people to just list their course on our platform and select the times that they want to host events, and they get the majority of the revenue for the events, or if we want to do it as a complete central control thing where we have employees or contractors in each of these markets that are doing... I haven't figured that piece out yet.
That's interesting.
But what the step one is creating a model that is profitable, but also very, very uniquely satisfying for the participants, but that it's repeatable, that we're not reinventing the wheel every day, that we get a routine and a cadence and a formula, and then just figuring out, okay, how do we replicate that city by city by city? And it's not just America. My goal, or my dream, is to create a global networking platform that enables somebody to say, I have a trip to Sydney next week. Why don't I tack on 2 days and play golf on a beautiful course in Sydney with people that are in my industry? This won't be limited to the 1%ers. It won't be limited to people that just have memberships at the world's most expensive clubs. Yeah, that's definitely part of the vision, is creating mobility, creating the ability to play anywhere and everywhere.
What do you see yourself doing when it gets there? What's Greg's role at that point?
The role of any leader is to make himself obsolete, to create a business that doesn't need him. Yeah. I'm borrowing a line from my father here, that the difference between a practice and a business is that a business can survive the death of its leader. I would like to be the ambassador. I would like to be the evangelist. I don't necessarily have to be the face. I'm probably not the best possible face for the business.
You got a pretty good face.
But I'm the face for it for now, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But what I would like to do is to create the system that is almost self-running, but very inclusive. And what I mean by inclusive is inclusive of different types of participants, various golf skill levels, various industries, various roles, but also inclusive of business participants. I want to run this business, but just out of my club in, Bend, Oregon. Or, no, I want to do this in all of Japan. Or, oh, I want to take the same concept, but I want to apply it to fishing trips. And yeah, so that's where I would like, I have to get it up and running and make it real first, but let's say 5 years from now, that's where I'd like to be.
That fits.
Yeah.
From what we've talked about. With that perspective, what would you say is like, what's the next biggest thing that needs to happen to get closer to that point?
So we have to go from having one very well received event yesterday to doing it repeatedly, to doing it every month with different C-suite role holders, and have both the guests and the hosts have a really positive experience that they come back to and that they tell their friends about. And to automate the cat herding. Because you're in the events business as well.
I love the word cat herding.
It's crazy, man. I mean,
Christina knows. Christina is the lead cat
herder.
herder.
That's my job.
So yesterday we had 24 golfers. I called all 24 golfers in the 48 hours before the event, and all of them were fine. Absolutely looking forward to it. We had 3 cancellations.
That's the challenge with... So there's the draw and the attraction of Aviara for free. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But with free, there's no skin off my back.
And
hey, thank you so much for the invite. I'll be at the next one.
Exactly.
Can't make it. Sorry.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And there's things that we can do to, at first I thought, okay, when somebody accepts the invitation, we're going to ask them to authorize a $500 charge to their card in case they don't show, because that's what I'll have to refund to the host.
Sure.
That received a big no.
Yeah. You want me to play for free, but you want to authorize my card.
Well, and for the experience standpoint, that's not a good experience.
So
just
now
in that moment,
So we had 3 cancellations the morning of the event.
Of course.
Ouch.
One of them I was able to find a replacement, and actually that replacement was wonderful, and the hosts really... It was almost a good thing, the way that one worked out, and I got lucky. The other 2, I wasn't able to find a replacement for. So now we have to go back and say, okay, so it didn't happen at the event, but you guys are already connected, and money has already been paid, so let's schedule a time where you can play together individually at
another round.
Yes, exactly.
Pick a day, pick a time.
So, that's another one of these things where it's something that we have to figure out.
Yeah.
I've got the core, but there's going to be all of these wrinkles and all these permeations that we have to have a response for, and we won't think through the response in many cases until the problem actually occurs, and then we'll probably try 2 or 3 different responses, then figure, okay, that's the one that works.
Sure. Yeah, and that's just part of the course correcting.
Yes.
The torpedo.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Herding cats, though, man.
Oh, it's crazy.
I'm going to brag for just one quick moment, but I will say that of the 77 humans that had a ticket and were supposed to show up to the Padres game, 76 attended, were in the room.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that many people, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that to me, I was like, wow. I think that's probably the best attendance we've ever had for something.
I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable. Life happens.
100%.
You have a 1-year-old child that's sick.
Yep.
I'm like, well, okay, he'll still be sick tomorrow. Let's go play golf. No, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
A little bit different priorities. But to your point about calling all 24 people the day before, it takes what we've learned and what I've known is it takes the individual personal care of, hey, Greg, times 24 people. Hey, Greg, I'm super excited to see you tomorrow. Mm-hmm. When people just have an event and they say, oh, I have 50 people signed up and there's nothing leading up to it. There's no contact. It takes a lot of time, and it's what makes it work is what I've learned.
I did this a little bit this time, but I think I'm going to do it more so on the next one. Once we have the foursomes confirmed, introduce them. so that they don't just feel obligation to me, they feel obligation to the other people, and they're excited because of who the other people are that they're going to meet. Because the motivation for the guests isn't just to meet the host. Obviously, another part of the motivation is to meet the other guests, to meet their peers.
Yeah, their peers in their industry, right?
And if it's just me that they're disappointing, and I'm just the event producer, there's less baggage with that. Whereas like, oh God, I'm letting down another 3 guys that were. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll work on that.
I think a lot of what we've shifted to with some of the learning we've had is like, how do we do a better job of leading up to the event, setting expectations, doing some of this pre-work around introducing people, and even just getting people excited, like kind of setting the tone for what to expect, what to experience with communication beforehand. And anytime there can be contact that happens before the event, I'm naturally going to go, oh, we met for, even if it was 5 minutes, I'm really excited to play with Greg now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just a name on a piece of paper for a company that I may or may not know, right? So to humanize that, I would imagine, would be really impactful.
Correct. What I think I'm learning is that it's not monetization. You can't apply a monetary penalty and expect that that's going to govern behavior. It's got to be more of an emotional, I don't want to say obligation. Well, obligation's part of it, but somebody's looking forward to meeting the people there, not just, if all they're thinking about is the golf, then it's a personal decision. Oh, well, I'd rather not play golf today. I'd rather do this.
Yeah, I have, if I'm a business owner or I'm leading a team or department, I'm a CMO, I have 17 other things on my list. Do I have 5 hours today? Right?
Yeah.
The time commitment is easy to kind of look over.
And you know what? If the answer is no, that's fine. But don't figure that out on the
The
morning
day
of the
before.
event. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, that's so much last minute stuff happens. Life happens, and it's understandable, and there's ways to kind of get around it.
But see, also, I think that's where we're similar in this, that there's a finite capacity for each event. And if we start building up a big enough base, first of all, there's going to be scarcity, right? People are going to want their spot. But then we're going to have the ability to have alternatives, substitutes. So I got lucky with one substitute. Well, there's going to be a day when I have a list of 50 subs.
Right.
That I can call on.
Yeah, I just anytime we talk, I can't help but just, again, it's so easy to see some of the stuff from the outside looking in, and it's like, just have a wait list of 10 people that are super excited, would be interested, and as soon as it opens up, when we have someone, be ready.
Yeah.
And
there's one guy in our group who will remain nameless, but he came to me the other day as though he was doing me a favor. He says, man, anytime you need a warm body.
happy to be here.
He was assuming that he was going to play for free, right? It was like, anytime you need a warm body, I'm your guy. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yes. It's not that this costs me money or anything, right?
The other thing that popped into my head is, just as you were talking, is so with the different CXO events that you're hosting, are you timing those up around conferences that might be in the area, or is that part of the strategy at all? Or is it
that has been on my mind for as long as I've thought of the business. So I have an idea that a company that is spending $30,000, $50,000 to have a booth at a conference. I mean, the booth itself doesn't cost that much money, but you're taking your people out of the field and all of the stuff you're printing out, everything. I mean, it's a big investment. Why not tag on a day before or after the conference to invite specific people to come for a day of golf? In my little lipper brain, I see that as just one more line item that somebody can check off when they're filling in the form to have a booth. Would you like to have a golf event? We'll get there eventually. It requires collaboration with the conference organizers, the conference venue. So, for example, there was the HR, SHRM.
SHRM is a big one, yeah.
There was 50,000 HR people. I didn't know who those 50,000 people were. I didn't know how to invite them to, and I didn't have the standing. I didn't have the relational standing to do it. But if it was SHRM that was doing it, or if it was one of the SHRM exhibitors that said, oh, by the way, we're doing a golf event at Aviara, would you like to come? I'm sure it would have sold out. It's just a matter of, how do I do the alignment so that the right message is delivered to people from the right source so that it has credibility?
Yeah, that's obviously the relationship aspect of that. But I just think of, so SHRM as a bunch of HR, and so you have, if you had an HR, whatever the CXO version of
Yep.
HR is, right? It's, do you golf?
Yeah.
What I've noticed with conferences is, so many of the conferences, the value is I meet a bunch of great people. There's usually some great speakers. I get a little energy. People started doing more dinners and more things after.
Right.
And the golf, to me, is a very parallel to that.
There's another challenge with golf, and that is that it's a victim of its own success. There's kind of a stigma. Somebody doesn't want to be seen, because golf has this image of being very posh and, I don't know, leisure activity and expensive and taking a lot of time. And somebody might not feel comfortable having their colleagues or their manager that they're going off to play in this golf event. So we have to position it as, listen, this isn't leisure. This is another form of business development.
Yeah, that's the challenge that we share.
Yeah.
Right? It's people, okay, you guys are shifting away from business networking.
Mm-hmm.
How do I justify investing in my team to go out to dinner and go to the Padres game and do some of these events?
And it's almost like you'd say to you'd feel better if the food was bad. It would be okay if we did this at McDonald's instead of a nice restaurant.
Yeah,
I mean,
but like that's kind of the message that they're saying. Like, I don't want to spend money on a membership, but I want you to get business. So like, what do you want me to do?
Well, and we run into people who say things like, "Oh, if I spent $200-300 at one particular thing a month, like I can write that off, but anything that has the word membership on it, I can't." And I'm like,
or golf.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So one of the things that is I use the expression guilt-free golf, but really
which I love.
Because it is guilt-free. I mean, it's the whole concept of work-life balance presents a false choice. If you do it right, you can have both simultaneously. And we're all stressed out enough that having a nice afternoon on a golf course, meeting new people, being exposed to new ideas while actually getting some physical activity in, walking around, breathing in the clean air, taking in some nature, natural beauty. There's a mental health aspect to it. There's a relationship development aspect to it. And so it's a nice afternoon. Shoot me. What's wrong with having a nice afternoon, right? I mean,
a nice afternoon and business deals have happened. So it's like,
I mean,
win-win.
We'll talk about that a little bit because you've had some significant deal flow through relationships that have been developed. If you had to pick one specific story to share.
I have several specific stories, but this is not an appropriate format for me to go into the private dealings of, but I can give you a high level.
High level, don't need to
level.
know the
It's
name,
not
don't
about-
need to know the company, but as an example.
So we had one player who has run his business for 30 years. He's planning on retiring, and he figured it'll take him 3 years to sell his business. And he just so happened to meet somebody at one of our events who works for a company that buys businesses like that. And through the event, the entrepreneur thought that the business valuation would be set on one set of metrics. And this person said, actually, no, that's not how we do the valuation. We do it on another set of metrics. And by the way, you can stay involved for as long or as short. It's kind of like a reverse mortgage on a house.
Sure.
We can come to the deal now, and we can agree on the metrics now, and then whenever you're ready to hand it over in total, you can do that. And they came to that framework over 18 holes of golf. There's another story where...
So you literally put a pin in that. Like, you literally helped someone retire 3 years earlier.
Or it's still in process, but
have the ability to completely change what they thought was possible in terms of their retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
How
We've
cool.
had people get jobs. We've had people get family members jobs. There was one, we have two members that are serial entrepreneurs. And I refer to them as onions because every time I meet them, I peel back the layer and I find out there's another layer of business. These guys are just involved with so many things. And so I thought of person A in terms of the business that I was aware of, and I thought of person B in terms of the business that I was aware of. I didn't know about their other activities. Well, they start playing, and it turns out that person A has an office building in Escondido that he's wanted to sell for a long time, and person B has a commercial real estate brokerage that happens to focus on that genre of building. And I'm like, I can't believe what just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the high that Christina and I get often when those things happen. What does that do for you? What's the feeling? What's the motivation to keep doing it for you?
So yesterday we had a film crew there capturing content for social media. And the person doing the filming is not a golfer. He doesn't really know what we do. And I was explaining it to him. I was like, okay, you see these 4 guys on the green? Okay, these are all of their top level businesses, and this is why they're directly. But this guy's got this on the side, and this guy's got, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to see the possible interactions, and sometimes they discover it on their own without me having to say or do anything. And sometimes I'll just kind of drop something in conversation saying, oh, by the way, Fred, you were also involved with this, which is similar to what George is involved with. And
yeah, some people need the connection. They need the spark to go, oh, okay, right. It's funny how people won't necessarily connect dots without. So, some people will.
Some people don't really want to talk about themselves that much, right? It's harder for them to do that.
Yeah.
So it takes one of us as connectors to connect that for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's great fun. I mean, Eric's seen me play golf. I'm not a great golfer. I enjoy it greatly because I don't keep score, and I have the type of personality that I only remember the good stuff.
Goldfish golf.
Yes. But I'm not really in this for the golf itself. I'm in this for the value that can be created between people in unforeseeable ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do. It's interesting to hear you talk about like fishing or hot air balloons and different stuff, because part of what we're trying to figure out is like, what are the experiences where there's depth, there's enough time. The dinners, we found that the dinners to be very, very similar to all the reasons that you shared about golf.
And the good thing about dinners is that everybody eats.
Yep.
Right? You could do snowboarding trips, but then it's only for snowboarders. It's
limited, yeah.
So if you can find a activity that has a very broad base of participation and then somehow make that special. So that's why, hot air balloons are good, because everybody can stand.
Well,
I mean, that's all you're really...
I'm laughing, but I think there's something to that, right? Where there's to filter down some of this stuff. There's specialty things where if you and me are super passionate about golf, for example, we're going to connect deeper because there's a passion there.
Yeah.
And then there's other things where it's like, this is an experience. So for us, music, to go see or watch a show, sports can be that, right? Because it's approachable in a way that I'm just doing it. Yep. Golf is a little bit more specialty, right? And it checks all these other boxes.
And then there's other activities where it doesn't really matter, like bowling. There are people that are really good at bowling, and the people that are really good are very particular about it. But everybody can bowl. Right.
I think recreation, the part of that we've talked to Christina and I've talked about a lot is recreation where we want to play. Pickleball, for example, there's opportunity, but to me, golf is different. There's more of this to everything that you shared about earlier about the relationships that happen on the golf course and all the moments and even walking side by side versus against each other. And recreation, there's a little bit more of, I can see the competitive side and there's a different side to the cube, but I don't know that connects the same way.
What might be fun for you guys is improv, but you don't play yourself, you play the other person.
Sure.
All right, so here's the scenario. You're Eric. What do you do?
Well, I mean, so one of our members, Paige, her whole business is on improv, and we did a couple events with her, and one of them we had 5 or 6 members in the room, and all of them loved it. They had such a great time. So certainly it's...
Yeah, improv, definitely. I mean, you were at Mic Drop comedy shows, people laughing together. Right? There's some of this stuff that's
Comedy's become so hard, though, because the world's so polarized. There's so many topics that you can't touch on.
Oof, I feel like the opposite. I feel like so many people are pushing the limits and talking about so many things.
Well, I hope so. Yeah. At our events, we don't discuss religion, we don't discuss politics. And it's not like I'm there standing there making this rule. That's just the way,
it's how most people operate, and then throw money in there, and most people aren't comfortable about those 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, comedy's interesting because I do think it's a place for discourse, and it's one of the few places where I have the mic and you're here, you paid money, I can say whatever I want, and you can like it or not. And there's
But the very
respect and
fact
there's
that
a
the
dynamic.
audience is in the room means that they're open to that. Yeah,
You would hope.
so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not everyone is, and that's
I
where
mean,
the
they
heckling
actively
comes in.
went and sought it out.
It's like you
right?
don't have to be here.
Yeah.
Pick somewhere else if you're going to be in that mood
Yeah.
to do whatever you're doing.
So where do you guys see 6 going?
Christina,
I mean, what's 12?
What's 12?
Well, I don't want to keep
6 to midnight.
expanding the level of degrees. I'd love to. I mean, if anything, it keeps getting smaller, right? Just like by the way that we are connected to each other as humans in the world. The number of members in San Diego that we would really love to know what it feels like is around 200. We'd like to see what is it like to have around 200, with 100 being more in like the North County area and then 100 more like south of the 56, if the 56 is that line, and see if that feels like a more of a complete, at least in one city and one market. And maybe that's not the right number. We have to kind of get there to see, but eventually we want to go to other cities. I mean, I think to your point of already the impact that in the stories that you've shared and the things that have happened, we've seen that with 6 Degrees too. So I think from our standpoint is I want to keep being able to do that for people and be that connector for people when they need that spark, right? And once that spark happens, life happens and dreams come true for people. And I want to be able to keep doing that.
I think the big thing for us is there's, in the world of AI and technology, the human connection piece, I would double, triple down on it, that it's not going anywhere.
Did you see my lame-ass post on LinkedIn?
What was the lame?
I
LinkedIn? No, I don't know that I saw
I
it.
used AI to create a picture of a robot holding a golf club, and then there was a big circle with a line through it saying AI can't golf. The whole idea is that AI can do a lot of things for you.
Yeah.
It can't create camaraderie. It can't create trust. It can't create memories. It can't create excitement about seeing somebody again. And these are the things that human experiences can do. And I think that as fascinated as the world is with AI right now, there's going to be a real craving for knowing that somebody's not a deep fake, knowing that something is genuine, actually having a real conversation and a real experience with somebody. And I think that, experiential offerings like yours and mine and others, not only will it have a place, it will be a little bit more cherished because everything else that you're exposed to in life isn't necessarily real.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm very just bullish on the human experience part and actual and the in-person experience is like what you're creating, like what we're creating. So I think as excited as we get about, like, let's just figure out San Diego. Yeah, like, there's a pull to, like, the world, U.S., other cities need this. Someone made a post. Someone came to the Padres game, made a post, and like, I'm in Charlotte. This sounds amazing. How do we do what we're doing here, right? And so there's opportunity there, and we've been similar to you. Is like, how do we figure this out here first and start with one, whatever. How do we get from 0 to 1, and then we can go from 1 to 100? But
you're absolutely right, though, in changing the name from networking to connections.
Yeah.
The world already has BNI, and
Yes.
it has 1,000 networking. One other refinement, not instead of connections, but in addition to connections, is maybe if you could find common problems that you can help people solve, or at least help people talk about. I'm going through the process now of aging parents. I just buried a father a month ago, and my mother I'm just getting out of the hospital. There should be a manual for teaching people how to support aging parents. When do you take the keys away?
Yeah.
Or when do you have that, conversation? What does that look like? How do you deal with helping your child figure out what college to go to, or should you get involved with getting involved with that?
Sure.
Should they necessarily go to college? Maybe I'm not picking good examples, but there are certain common life stage problems that people go through. And maybe if you had events that were focused on those specifically, you could have enlightening conversations come out of it.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. There is an opportunity because I can think of 3 or 4 people off the bat of just they're going through the same thing with the parent, right?
Yep.
Aging parents,
And it's not, you don't want a seminar. There's a place for seminars. There's a place for somebody to come and tell you what is the new health insurance regime going to look like, and what is the tax law changes going to do to you. No, create a platform where peer-to-peer conversations. Yeah, I'm going through this. I tried this. Did you try that? Without there being one authoritative expert in the room.
Yeah, we have some ideas around that I think you came to one of the feedback for breakfast. That was kind of a similar spot. It's something that we tried and we got positive feedback on it, and I think there's a different angle and a different way, and what you're sharing might be a version of a way to do that more effectively and create the space with a topic and give people room. And the result being the connection that happens, right? I think there's something there for sure. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious for everyone if, as a reinforcement, if the excitement stress ratio has shifted at all in this conversation for anyone.
Well, I was stressed when I came here because Waze sent me to the wrong location.
Oh, no.
Now that I've gotten over that piece of trauma, and now my excitement level is even higher than it was, and I'm not stressed at all.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I think for me, just hearing the passion that you have about what you've been doing, and again, to have a front row seat for the last few years, and it seems like yesterday's event was a very big positive, hopefully launching pad. I think my excitement went up for you and what you're building, so at least from 7 to an 8 at the minimum.
Yeah, I mean, my excitement went up for this partnership. I think just throughout this conversation, I had a couple of ideas come through that just as I have started to really begin planning out 2026 and what do our events look like and just different ideas that we have. And so I think obviously the two of you have a lot of conversations, and Eric, you know so much more about your business, Greg, and this was really nice for me to be able to hear more and get to know you and what you're doing and everything that's going on more. So it was really helpful for me to get excited about next year.
Yeah.
Well, great. I'm glad that we had this chance.
Yeah.
Part of it for me too is with the way that you're positioning the new version or the additional, right? There's still, you're keeping everything you have. As a 6 Degrees member, how can we do something? Who's one person you want to play with? And is there a way for us to partner on that and add value to our members in a micro version of that? I don't know. If that's where getting people to come is successful, maybe framing that to the people that we've been trying to get to.
You give a man a hammer and the world looks like a nail. And I'm thinking through your membership, at least the people that I know, saying, all right, well, which ones are potential guests and which ones are potential hosts? And that's not necessarily the right way to look at it. But now that we have this new format where it's not everybody pays, it's some people are going to go as guests. But if you're going as a guest, you have to be receptive to what the host is going to offer. I mean, the host is paying good money for the opportunity to connect.
Right.
And I'm thinking, is 6 Degrees Connections a good source? I guess it could be a good source of both guests and hosts.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do more 6 Degrees Connections golf events, but the problem is always the scheduling. You have no shortage of people that want to participate.
Yeah.
The problem is, okay, great, Thursday, 2 p.m., you down? Oh, I got this, I got that. Yeah.
That's what I want to figure out for next year, is how do we get people committed and have it be more of a continual thing that can build. I
think, honestly, this host thing, I see a lot of potential with that. And it might not necessarily be a bunch of the 6 Degrees members who are hosting, but I think there's a ton of people in our network in San Diego.
Sure.
And I think even just the people that, as we have shifted to 6 Degrees Connections from networking and who we want to continue filling 6 Degrees with, and the people who are in these business owner roles, I think there's going to be plenty of people that are going to be attracted to this guest element as well.
So I'm working on an idea that might be also applicable to your dinners. I'm working on an idea called Dream 16, where it'll be a service that on a Monday morning you get an email that says you've been matched with these 15 people. And the algorithm does the matching, and it does the matching based on career criteria, on golfing criteria, on life stage, gender,
Sure.
all sorts of. And when somebody signs up, they say, this is what I want you to prioritize. I want you to prioritize my matches based on business. I want you to prioritize my matches based on golf preferences or on lifestyle or life stage things. And then the algorithm will present you with that and saying, okay, it's going to be on October 21st at 1 p.m. In, out, maybe. The algorithm just keeps going until it gets 16 people that are confirmed. And you show up that day and you meet people that you don't know why, but you've been matched with them. And there is it's not just intuition, there is an algorithmic reason why you've been matched with a person. What if you did something like that with your dinners?
Have you heard of Time Left?
I think so.
It's pretty much that.
Okay.
They do a dinner and the same thing. There's this, I don't know, a list of maybe 20 questions that I answered. I haven't actually done the dinner. I've gotten mixed reviews from people who have. But they ask a certain set of questions, and then they match people based on the answers to those questions. And then I think it's like somewhere between like 6 and 10 people that will get sent off to a dinner.
I know one person that went, and she says, it says everywhere where I signed up that this is not a dating thing. And I went there, and it was totally a dating thing. No.
Yeah. Well, the person
That's why it says
who
it everywhere.
went that I got a review from said that it was difficult because about half of the table were more entrepreneurs, business owners, and then the other half were not. And somehow it was kind of segregated how they sat down just by luck, by chance, whenever they all sat down. But it wasn't really great for the whole table to really connect and learn from each other and that kind of thing, because very much the business owners wanted to talk to each other and everybody else kind of wanted to talk to each other just because that's what's relatable.
Yeah, the biggest thing with what you described is what's the pool that I'm drawing from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's, if it was within our community, I think that there would be...
Well, I think it needs to be a mix. Some people from your community, but also bringing some outside people in. We have one client that does private events with us, and they have this great idea where it is both a client appreciation and a business development event. So they invite their existing clients, come on, enjoy the day, bring a friend.
Yeah. That's what we did for the Padres game.
Yeah.
So how do you qualify the people? So when someone brings a friend, how do you qualify?
Oh, they ask them, say, bring somebody who you think would be a good prospect for us.
Sure.
Somebody who you think would be interested in our services.
Sure. Right. But so for us, like, how do we qualify? So from the values alignment, purpose values, all that part, like, so that it's not just this, dating thing of, you seem like a good person, but you actually have a different expectation, different thing that you're trying to get at. I love the idea of algorithmically prioritizing and matching people, because basically that's what Christine and I are doing.
We're just doing it manually.
We're doing it manually.
Trying to work ourselves out of a job.
Exactly.
But when we have the dinners, like, we're thinking through, okay, Greg, of the 12 people that we have at this table, you need to be next to this person, and we're doing that puzzle in addition to the algorithm, right?
It's interesting that, so I'm trying to think through just how orchestrated I need to do this. So, after our events, we have the group table for dinner, and I don't do assigned seating.
Yeah.
For these hosted events, I think that maybe I need to.
I would.
Because first of all, there's real money involved. But secondly, we might have two hosts that are somewhat competitive. And so, we're going to have one large table, but I'm going to have to give some more thought to who's going to sit where. And we're actually going to have name cards on the table. So, yeah, I hadn't thought of that before, but now it's something we're going to have to do.
Depending on if you feel like, so part of the magic that happens even when we've done the after event is when I'm playing around with a couple people after, like, remember that shot that you had on 16 or whatever? You almost might want to have just small groups of tables of 4 or 8.
But I also don't want to remove the serendipity. I don't want to remove the spontaneous... Because there's a few people in our group that have bonded that I didn't necessarily expect to happen, because they're very different people in very different fields, but they become mates and they, enjoy playing together and they have a great time together. I couldn't have predicted that.
Sure. My gut would say even if you assign seats, those people will find each other
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form.
But also, that's the difference between an open member event and a hosted event.
Sure.
But yeah, so at your dinners, you do have table cards. You do
We
have.
do.
Yes.
Yeah. And we spend way too much time.
Yeah.
We'll do like 3 or 4 different.
And then they cancel. Fucking drives me crazy.
No.
No, people don't cancel
we've
at the
had a
dinner.
few-
I mean,
few.
it's happened because of something so crazy, but it's probably happened like I can think of 2 times.
Yeah,
Like,
it's rare.
it's
but,
very
but
rare.
yeah, when it does, it's
Mm.
Well,
infuriating.
it's frustrating because we do think so much about who's
Sure.
going to be sitting next to each other, and now we got to rotate certain people, and where do we
Well,
could potentially completely change the
and-
seating chart.
At our events, we have 16-player events, and I do foursome changes on the 7th and the 13th so that you're meeting new people every 6 holes. And I'm thinking through, okay, from each person's perspective, okay, who are they going to meet in the first 3, and then the
Right.
6th, and then the next 6,
Yeah.
and the next 6, to make sure that everybody... And then you take one piece of that jigsaw out.
Messes everything up.
What's the name of that tower with blocks that falls
Jenga.
down? Jenga. You take that one Jenga thing out, and the whole thing comes crashing down. Yeah.
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 For sure.
Well, again, super excited. I think to reinforce the fact that this conversation really helped me and opened my mind up to some more ideas and things for next year. So, yeah, just really grateful for this partnership and this relationship, and for you to come on here and say yes to being on a podcast.
Yes, well, thank you very much, and I too value the partnership, and really enjoy knowing you guys, and thank
Yeah.
you for bringing me on today.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
Time for a deep dive. Greg, on this episode, he said that he wishes that he could go back and change his major and name some things that he would change it to. So it made me curious, if you changed your major, what would you change it to?
Psychology.
Psychology?
Yeah, I think part of the reason that I picked marketing was the psychology part of marketing.
Okay.
So I would just.
So you said that you chose marketing because there was a psychology element to it, but why else marketing?
So 2 things. So one, I went to community college, so didn't know what I wanted to do for the first 2 years. And then when I went to DePaul, I was like, I need to shift over to university, and knew it was going to be business. And part of the business was just understanding like this is going to be applicable to a lot of things. The main reason that I went into marketing is I had a teacher, professor. Her name was Jackie Kuehl. I ended up taking 5 or 6 of her classes. I think 5.
Wow.
I took marketing 101 with her, and I was like, this sounds really interesting. And took her 4 more times, and still keep in touch with her. It's been a minute since I talked to her, since the pandemic, but I was just super inspired by her. The other part of the marketing piece was just thinking bigger picture long term, kind of like what Greg talked about. Is, to me, marketing was very universal. Like, it's a piece of how do I sell whatever it is, how do I market it, how do I brand it. That just made sense. It was like, this degree is going to help me in some way, shape, or form. So that was very, very intentional.
Was Jackie part of the reason for the whole Fred commenting on your...
Yeah.
So for the listener, so we threw a surprise wedding for anyone who doesn't know that at this point. And there was this man named Fred who I don't know, but you can fill in the context of Fred.
Well, so Jackie came to our wedding. So Fred was someone that I worked with through her. I did an internship with Fred. And he was someone that like would speak at her class, and got to know him relatively well. So I can't remember if I like invited both of them and they were together.
I think you did. I think
think
they were
that's-
both invited.
But yeah, he was invited, and then but I don't remember how it would have happened. So you know what I mean?
Okay, well, basically, the day of, it is New Year's Eve. It's early in the morning.
2018, December 31st, 2018. The time, the year is important.
Is it?
In 2018, Facebook was a little bit more relevant.
God, you're right.
That was 7 years ago.
Wow, you're so right. Facebook was relevant. I was still checking I haven't looked at Facebook in 3 years, but back then I would have. That's interesting. Wow. Okay. It is relevant. Thank you for sharing the year.
You're welcome.
I I think I get a text message from you, and I don't know. Basically what happened was Fred commented on, because it was also your birthday. So for those of you that don't know, we got married on Eric's 30th birthday, New Year's Eve. And so there was obviously a lot of love and happy birthdays on your Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was Fred. And he said something to the, he said something like, congrats to you and your beautiful bride, or something like that.
Yeah, it was happy birthday and congrats to you and your beautiful bride.
Yeah.
Almost probably verbatim.
So Eric's phone starts to blow up with mom and sister, right?
Yep.
Your sister saw it first?
Yeah, somehow. I don't remember.
Or something. And Eric's response, he literally just sends the emoji of like I don't know, with like the little dude holding his arms up in the air. And I'm like, because like your phone starts to blow up with like, are you getting married? And right? Like, you tell it. I wasn't on your side of the...
Yeah. So again, morning of, we're running around. I worked that day. I was processing payroll. Stupidest thing I've ever done.
So insane.
Do not work on your wedding day. highly don't recommend it. I worked a half day, but at like 9 a.m., that post happens, and my mom and my sister are texting me of like, what does this mean? What is he talking about? Are you married? Are you getting married?
Tonight's it's a wedding, isn't it, Eric? It's a wedding.
You guys, is it a wedding tonight? all of these questions, and I just, it was trying to just like, I don't know what he's talking about. That's weird.
You didn't even do. I feel like you said to me, because I think I saw.
No, I think
you just did the emoji of I don't know.
The I don't know emoji.
Like, why wouldn't you? I don't know.
And then and then we deleted it. And then, do you remember this part?
Yeah.
So I ended up deleting that post. I'm like, oh, maybe I can just delete it. And then my sister, as soon as I deleted it, she texts me. She goes, "You deleted it. I knew it. You're getting married. See you tonight. Can't wait."
Oh my God.
And then, like, so that's how she came in. She thought like that's what was happening. And then when I first got there, I was wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt.
It's the shirt you're wearing right now.
I'm wearing the shirt right now. How fitting.
Yeah.
I had a Mickey Mouse shirt with like a sports coat. And she goes, "I thought you were getting married. And then you had a fucking Mickey Mouse shirt." And it threw me off. I'm like, there's no way he's getting married in a Mickey Mouse shirt.
Yeah. I think it steered people to think like, okay, wait, maybe not married, maybe it's just engaged, because we weren't engaged like to the public in any way, shape, or form or whatever. So, but yeah, it was just funny because I mean, I've never met Fred, but the joke from that point on was just like, fucking Fred, ruining the fucking Fred.
Yeah, well, I think that was part of it. Is like he couldn't make it, and that was his way of like reaching out and just saying, hey, like, have fun tonight, right? And and it was too public. So
yeah, how funny. Yeah, I mean, he just missed the memo of it being a surprise.
Yeah. Worked out the way it was supposed to.
It did. It all worked out, and
does.
it was funny, and yeah, your sister, and to me, because I was so caught up in wanting I wanted everyone to be surprised. I knew obviously the word was going to spread, and there's certain people who knew, but I wanted the surprise to be for as many humans as possible. So for the surprise to literally be ruined, like hours before, day of, for both your mom and your sister. Your mom and sister would not have known. They wouldn't have known anything. Maybe they would have still suspected an engagement, probably, but they wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been that like big of a suspicion, right? So I was really bummed about that because I was like, we got so close.
Well, yeah, because I remember my mom again. So she's coming in with that mentality or thinking that something's up, and then all of a sudden like my dad's there and they don't like to be in the same room.
Yep.
And then like your mom's there, and then your tia's from Mexico, and she's like, why is Letty here? Like that was the way she's like this, and you're
she's like, why is Nina Letty here? Why is she here?
And she was there by like happenstance. Like it was just like, she's like, I want to come. I think I'm supposed to be here right now for New Year's.
Isn't that wild? Like,
she just kind of had a sixth sense about it.
She did. And it was wild because like my mom had no idea, which is also funny. I don't even think that she thought you were proposing that night, even though you asked my mom for not permission, but just like blessings or whatever earlier that month on her birthday, which was also a really funny experience. But I don't even think my mom was suspicious of even it, like that being the possibility. But my mom definitely was like, this is going to be a really big party. It's going to be so fun. And if, you know, my Ninas wanted to come and celebrate, she was like, yeah, you should totally come. I mean, my mom's always wanting to host people anyway. So yeah, that was all just kind of by chance, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Funny to look back on. I just remember after we did that, I had so many people. I was like, if I invite you to something, just like really think about saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Like just think.
Well,
like we're it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be really good.
It's gonna be good.
I mean, and that's honestly, it's what has bled into our business now and the things that we do, and people understand when we host something. I was like, no, it's going to be really good. Like, we've had people drive a couple of hours in shitty ass traffic for even some of the things that we hosted early on. That were they good for what we were doing then? Absolutely. And at this point, I'm like, ooh, no, that was nothing in comparison to like what we're doing now, right? So it's part of who we are. It's part of our personal brand.
Yeah, it's our company's purpose and our purposes. Each of our purposes are very aligned to that. Like,
yeah.
That's what we like to do. We like to bring people together, and
yeah.
we like to make it a good time.
Yeah.
Part of the conversation with Greg was around the vision piece, and I'm curious for you. We've talked about it a little bit, and we've done some stuff on vision. What's the ultimate? We've made it. We turned 6 degrees into everything we hoped and dreamed it would be.
A suite at the Super Bowl. We do what we did for the Padres, but it's at the Super Bowl. No, I mean,
in LA.
It
doesn't matter.
I don't know. I haven't been to that stadium. And I don't even know what's possible at this point, because I know that they don't really do the Super Bowl in like the in the cold, in stadiums that are like super fucking cold.
No, it's either domes or it's warm weather.
Exactly. Because in my mind, it's almost more of like, okay, so I'll admit that when we were doing the Padres, when we were working out which suites we were getting and whatever, I saw photos of the Western Metal Building suites, and I was like, well, wait a second. These photos, like the furniture and the renovation of some of these other suites that they have at the Padres game are like super nice and new and clean and very, right? And so part of me, when I saw like what we were getting, I was like, damn, we were talking about these suites being like this luxury experience and blah, blah, blah. And then come to find out, I mean, so many of the people were like, I've never been in here. I've always wanted to be in here. There was so much more excitement about being in that building and like the history of it, and I kind of lost sight of that a little bit. And maybe it's because I'm not from here, and so just the meaning and the impact of what that building truly is and like the history of it. And so, yeah, I mean, so I'm not going to complain about any place that we're potentially going to the Super Bowl, and how cool when it's like, I just think about like Wrigley, right? And the experience of being at Wrigley and the Ivy and the history and what that place means. And so the equivalent to that kind of experience is really, really cool versus, oh, here's this brand new stadium that is only a few years old and that kind of thing.
Got it. Okay.
But I will admit, like, I think I was caught up a little bit in like this needs to be so luxurious that where we ended up actually played into, I think, our brand and what we did, and the throwback cards, like the way that you design them, right?
Yeah,
Like all of that played in so well.
I actually thought it was a better experience because of how close we were to the game, and like the way that so many of the box seats feel removed from, right. It is like this luxury. I'm in a box and I'm a little bit more disconnected. It's so easy to just not watch any of the game, right? But I think I've been in other boxes and stuff, and like that felt really cool for everything you said about the history, and then to be like where it is on the field.
Right.
So that wasn't my question. My question was around the vision for where you see us and where we made it. But so the Super Bowl part.
Yeah, I guess the moments for me where I really feel that we're doing something so special is in these types of events, in these types of, like, we just created a moment. I mean, I told you that it's funny to me now, but when we were handing out the baseball cards, I was shaky a little bit from just this excitement and from this, oh my God, it's happening. And I want this moment to be so perfect. And like, I was just so excited about it. And watching it all come to fruition, watching people open the cards and this whole moment, right? So I guess it's more of that. It's how do we keep elevating that with everything that we do and create these, I mean, what are each of the little tiny moments that we can do to make sure that every person here, regardless if it's 200 people or 10 people, each one of them feel special and like this is where they're supposed to be right now. And it's just those types of moments and experiences that, to me, every time we have one of those, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, we're fucking doing it. We've made it. This is awesome. Honestly, die tomorrow and I'd be like, whatever, we fucking did some cool ass shit. And like,
sure.
I in those moments, I feel like we've made it.
Okay, so you feel like there's been moments and there's been glimpses, and
there has, and it keeps growing, obviously,
sure.
Right? But honestly, there's so much fulfillment in so many of the things that we've done at this point already, and we just keep elevating it, that I'm like, no, this was awesome. I mean, the backstage experience at the Music Box, that was so cool. I just love that. So I guess for me, I've experienced it. I've experienced being the receiver. And so being able to do that for others is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of just where we're at and what we decided a few months ago. I was like, what if we just do the things that get us excited, that we're really good at, that create moments for people and hopefully inspire people. Like, what if that's all we did?
Well, what is different, or what's an add-on for you as far as the vision question goes?
Yeah, I don't know that Super Bowl suite was on my we made it list. I think the thing that I'm most interested in is building something that people want to continue to be a part of for an extended period of time.
Okay.
And we won't really know that until the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that what we do is, and where we're going, it's unique enough, it's different enough, and it's valuable enough that it's more than just being part of a business networking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think as people, we're going into year 4, I think I would anticipate like 2 to 3 years in something like what we took over is pretty normal.
Yeah.
So I get excited about the things that we can do and the ways that we can celebrate the people that continue to support us and to continue to be involved, and just appreciate. Hopefully they're getting something out of it. Like we've already talked about some ideas for some of that stuff for year 4, 5, 6, and yeah, that's the part where I think it gets really fun. I want people to feel like they're as important to what we're creating as the details that we put into the event.
Yeah. Like,
we, as a community, it's the people that are in it, and that's just as valuable, if not more valuable. And we've had, so the other part of that is, even if someone kind of graduates or gets what they need, how can we have, like we've talked about, like how do we have them still be able to be involved, right? If they don't have the time and some of the stuff, but is there a way to keep great people in our lives on the fringe of the community if they can't commit to kind of being in the day-to-day whatever? Because I think things are going to change for people. Technology is going to change. People are going to change. How does our business model evolve to support the great people that we're going to continue to meet for the longer term?
Right.
When we figure that out, then I'll be like, we're okay.
I mean, okay, but this is why when we have the conversation around AI and all these things that are happening, so yes, there's going to be a huge importance on the types of community services, anything that are very people oriented. The thing that I think has been huge for us and will continue to be huge and being a differentiator is the fact that we are going to look for values alignment to see if this is a fit. I don't know a lot of other communities, groups, organizations, businesses that really, like, that's how they're going to interview, filter, and whatever. And so I just think we have a community, and it's a community of people that I'm going to feel really safe around. I'm going to feel like I can be myself. The first year I will say first year and a half, because the first 6 months of being introduced to 6 Degrees and all these industries that I knew nothing about, and then fast forward to us purchasing and now actually being in the position of owning a business, I learned more in that year and a half than I learned in any other year and a half of my entire lifetime. I felt like I was drinking out of a damn fire hose as far as information and things that were coming at me. I learned so much of being out in the real world. That's not something I can learn in fucking college, sitting in a classroom.
Nope. Yeah. If anyone is listening and wants to go do something, go try it. Go do it. Best way to learn. Fail.
Yeah, the amount of times that I have failed in the last 4 years is a shit ton. So many times.
Yeah, both of us. I mean, I had a little bit of a head start in just some business and some stuff, but both of us.
100%. I mean, it's just part of it, and that's how I learned.
The only difference between what we're doing and other people is, like, the people that try stuff, and we just haven't quit yet.
Exactly. We just keep going.
We do something, we try it, we learn.
It's crazy because I literally can't think of quitting as an option. It's just not an option. I couldn't do that. I literally couldn't do it.
That's good.
No, it's impossible. It's impossible for us to quit this business. There's so many people. There's so many members. Are you joking? There's no way. There's just no way. There's no fucking way.
We're not going anywhere. Failures or quitting is not an option.
It's literally not
failure
an
is
option.
part of the process. Quitting is not an option.
Well, it's not. That's crazy.
Yeah, just gotta keep going.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
All right.
I do like that movie.
Put her there, bub.
I thought you said it was creepy when it's quiet.
No, I said it's creepy when you take a very long time to say it.
Oh, when I draw it out. Sure.
Yeah, when you...
Well, put her there, bub.
Put her there, bub.
Is that a tiny tune? Not a Looney Tune, but a tiny tune?
A tiny tune. She's so tiny.